Hello everyone, welcome back. This is alrav from Quebec, Canada, the author and creator of Alcatraz the Protector / Alcatraz le Protector. And for today's video, I'll be talking to you specifically about how to maintain reading habits. As you know, when we're younger, we tend to have a lot more time to read books and comics and the likes. Probably because we don't have much of a choice. But as we grow older, we tend to sideline these habits until they disappear completely. And that's unfortunate. It is a growing problem in modern society. So I've decided to make this video to give you some idea as to how to maintain these reading habits and renew them if you have shelved them. Of course, the best time to develop any new habits is in the mornings. When you wake up, your mind has a name for it. We can call it the shadow, we can call it the ego, or even le pensouillard, amongst many others. But regardless of the term, when we wake up, our minds tend to be still and groggy because we do come out of sleep. So in those times, it is easier to develop an habit at the morning. But as we go throughout our days, as time goes on and we put more energy into the task at hand, our minds become more and more agitated. So by the time we come back in the evening or so, we tend to become tired and we want to shut off our minds as much as possible. So that's why we become vulnerable to screen-based medias such as movies, television, and video games that are designed to be much more stimulating. They also work well to hide our thoughts and the agitated mind that's within us. So by the time we get at night, we tend to be too tired to think about any sort of new habit, as we need to go to sleep obviously. So that's the reason why either the morning or the night are the best times to do reading habits. But in my experience, mornings are the best. All it takes for you to do it is to take, let's say, 30 or 40 minutes or so a day early in the mornings to develop the reading habit and maintain it. On average, the schedule for an average person, they wake up around 6:30 in the morning to 7:30. There is a science that suggests that early risers, such as 5:30 and below that, have an advantage over night owls, simply because when you wake up early in the morning, people and things around you tend to be a lot more quiet. So when developing any new habit, it is recommended to wake up, let's say, 30 minutes earlier and use that time to start reading books or comics. Of course, you can go for even lower than that, such as 4:30 or even 3:30, in case you're one of those. There are some people out there like billionaires types that probably go even further in those lines. It is not always possible because, of course, you do not want to sacrifice your health by sleeping less. It is a bad idea, so that's the reason why I think 5:30 is the best if you can manage it. Of course, developing any new schedule like that, it can take some time and maybe a few weeks to get adjusted. But once you do, it becomes a permanent part of your routine. So that's the one I would recommend if you want to develop any sort of reading habit. While 4:30 and 3:30, these are optional, but if you can manage them, you can go for it. But as long as you don't sacrifice your sleep, that's the most important thing. Of course, on a final note, the You can opt to take a challenge, like let's say read one book a week. And from my experience, it can be done, but it depends on what you read. For instance, an average book can be somewhere between 200 to 300 pages. So it is reasonable to say you can read 30 books like these in the span of a week or two. However, there are books such as Notre-Dame de Paris de Victor Hugo as one example that's way longer than that. So if you take 30 to 40 minutes a day to read books, the odds are you will probably read a book like this for a lot longer. On the reverse side, comic books in general tend to be read a lot faster. Even so, there are no restrictions per se. Sometimes I do like the idea of balancing out those larger books with comics as well. So it can be a good thing to mix up the two. So in case, for instance, you read a book that's very long and all of a sudden you want to opt for something shorter, that's when I read a comic. So it kind of balances out in the end. And that's it for today's video, folks. Let me know what you think in the commentary section below. As always, look forward to all the Alcatraz the Protector / Alcatraz le Protector stuff on my Substack. The links are available in the description below or on my channel's page. With that being said, thanks for watching and we'll see one another very soon. Enjoy the reading.